Good morning, dear students. Today I am going to continue our first one poem. As we have seen in our last lecture, the introduction of the poem The Road Not Taken, a brief information about the poet Robert Frost, and the meanings of first two stanzas. Yes, in our last one period, in our last one lecture, we have completed up to here. We have completed the stanza second one. Got it? So, in today's class, today we are going to continue our third one stanza of the same poem. Okay, so look at there. What is third one stanza? And I hope you all have better understood the meanings of the first two stanzas. So here, as we have seen, just having a recap, poet once the poet while the poet was walking along a road, he found himself at an intersection of two roads where he had to choose any one out of them. So firstly, as we have seen, he carefully examined the one as far as he could. He examined or looked down the first one path till it was curved, means it curved and hidden under the undergrowth, or it was hidden in the trees or bushes. Then the poet took other path, as the both paths were equally good, but the second path was another path was having better claim, as it was grassy and wanted wear. That means the road had not been used by many people, it was unused, and that's why it was grassy and wanted wear. So the poet thought, this another path has the better claim. Another path had the better claim, and so he chose the another path. Then we have seen, as he walked on the second path, another path, for some distance, he realized that both are equally worn out, both are equally worked on, both are equally used. So by this sentence, by this line, the poet wants to say us that whatever the path we choose in our life, all are same, all are having the same benefits, drawbacks, difficulties, challenges, problems, and all that we have to face. So all are same. After this, in the third, look at what the poet wants to say. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Trodden black means walked over. Yes. So look at here what the poet says in the third stanza. Here in the third stanza, the poet says that both the paths were similar that morning. Equally lay means equally similar. They were similar. Both were equally covered in leaves. Both had leaves on them, and no one had stepped on them, as they were still green in color. So here, look at there in the first two lines. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Means poet says here, both paths were equally similar, equally covered in green leaves, as No one had stepped on them that morning. That morning, no one had stepped on them. Trodden black means stepped on. उन पे चलना. No one had stepped on them as the leaves were in green. Leaves were still green in color that morning. So both were same. So as we have seen, he decided that day he would take one path and keep the other path for another day. Oh, I kept the first for another day. So here the poet decided to walk on the other path, that means that another path, and kept the first one for another day. He kept the first one path for another day. Look at, but here he himself says, yet knowing how way leads on to way. Here he says, he keep the other path for another day, although he knew, although he knew that one way leads on to another way. Means the poet better knew that one road leads to another road. Yes. So here the poet himself was doubted. Poet himself was in doubt whether he came back to the same place or not. But still he says, I kept the first one for another day. I kept the first one path for another day. Yet knowing, जबकि मुझे पता था कि he knew that he could not go back on the choice. He could not go back on the same point where he had took the decision, where he had made the decision. Similarly in our life too, once we choose an option, we must keep on moving ahead with that option. We never get back a chance to go back and take the other option that we had left earlier. Yes, definitely. We cannot go back to the place where we had left, or we had left the first one path or the another choice. We cannot go back. Yes, can we? Definitely not. And that's why here poet appeals us to keep on moving ahead, to keep on moving ahead with the option that we have chosen. जो रास्ता हमने चुना है उसी रास्ते को लेकर चलना है, क्योंकि हम वापस उसी जगह जाकर अपना रास्ता बदल नहीं सकते. Got it? So same thing here he says, I kept the first one for another, but he knew that he could not go back to the point which he had left earlier. Yes? So it is same with us too, in our life too. It is reality. Got it? Understood? Now look at the stanza 4. So I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, to roads diverse in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. So here look at the meaning. Sigh means with deep breath. Hence here it means in the future. Hence means here in this poem it means in the future. So look at here, the poet says, as I cannot go back to the point which I had left earlier and go on that first one path. Yes, no one can. So he appeals us to move on with the path that you have chosen. You have chosen. Go with the path. Go with the path ahead. Got it? After this, here in the last stanza, the poet says, The poet says that in the future, somewhere ages and ages hence in the future, he will take a deep breath and says that and say that once upon a time. So here the poet says in future ही विल टेक अ डीप ब्रीथ, एकदम गहरी सांस लेकर ये बोलेंगे, क्या बोलेंगे कि वंस अपॉन अ टाइम ही हैड रीच्ड सच अ पॉइंट इन लाइफ वेयर देयर वर टू ऑप्शंस फॉर हिम टू चूज. Means once upon a time in future he would say, in future he would say once upon a time, ages and ages ago, I had reached to the point, मैं ऐसी एक पॉइंट पे पहुंच चुका था अपनी ज़िंदगी में कि where there were two options for me, means for him, कि उस समय मेरे लिए कितने ऑप्शंस थे, दो, to choose. And he travelled on the road, that road which had been travelled upon by lesser number of people. So here the poet would say in the future, taking a deep breath, once upon a time, ages and ages ago, he had two options in his life. He had to take any one out of them. At that time, the poet chose the path which was less travelled by many people, or less travelled by people. So look at there. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by. So here the meaning of these four lines is given. Poet would say in the future, taking a deep breath, that once upon a time in past, he had reached to the point in life where there were two options for him to choose. And he had chosen the path which had been less travelled by people. Less travelled by people means he travelled on that road which had been travelled upon by lesser number of people. So here in the last stanza the poet shows the difference between the two roads. Look at there, notice that in the third one stanza we have seen, in second and third one stanza, in both stanzas the poet says both were equally same, both were equally laid, both were equally covered with grass, both were equally walked on. But here in the last stanza, in the fourth stanza, the poet had made the difference in both the roads. As he said, I chose the one less travelled by. So here he made the difference between them, between the two roads in last stanza. So here in the last stanza the poet shows the difference between the two roads by saying that he took the one less travelled by. Got it? In the first, second and third stanza he talked about both and said both are similar, both were same, both were similar, equally laid. But here he made difference, and the decision he made has made all the difference in his life. Look at the last meaning of last line, and that has made all the difference. That has made all the difference means the road he chose, the path he chose, made all the difference. Yes, in everyone's life, whatever the road you choose, it shapes your life, it shapes your career, it shapes your future. So same here the poet says the decision he took, the decision he made has made his life different, has made all the difference in his life. It means the decision has given the shape to him, The decision has given the shape to his career, shape to him, shape to his life, shape to his future. Got it? So this is the meaning of last one line. So similarly, just relate it with your own life. Similarly, in future when you grow up, सेम ऐसा हमारे साथ भी होता है जब कभी हम बड़े हो जाते हैं. बड़े होने के बाद देखो, अगर अपने मम्मी पापा या किसी से पूछोगे बुजुर्ग व्यक्तियों से, तो आपको यही चीज़ सुनने मिलेगी कि व्हेन यू ग्रोन अप, और आपके पापा जैसे आप बड़े हो गए तो उनसे पूछिएगा कि आपके समय भी ऐसा कुछ, आपको भी पास्ट में कभी ऐसा मौका आया था क्या? तो देन यू विल से दैट वंस अपॉन अ टाइम व्हेन यू आर यंग यू हैड टू ऑप्शंस. तो आपके मम्मी पापा भी या फिर आप भी बोलोगे कि एक समय ऐसा था जब मैं यंग था, सो आई टू हैड टू ऑप्शंस एंड द चॉइस दैट यू मेड, और जो डिसीजन मैंने लिया, मेड यू व्हाट यू बिकेम ऑफ इट. और जो चॉइस तुमने लिया उसका नतीजा आप अभी हो जो बने हो, जिस पोजीशन पे हो वो उसी का नतीजा है. सो सेम हर किसी के साथ होता है. तो सुनिए अब, व्हाट इज मैसेज, स्ट्रॉन्ग मैसेज ऑफ दिस पोएम. द स्ट्रॉन्ग मैसेज ऑफ दिस पोएम इज फॉर ऑल द रीडर्स एंड स्टूडेंट्स दैट you should be wise and be careful while making choices, as I told you in the introduction of the poem. Yes, be alert and cautious, be wise and be careful while making choices out of the options that you have in your life. Because क्यों? क्योंकि your future depends on the choice that you make today. क्योंकि तुम्हारी फ्यूचर उसी पे डिपेंड होता है जो चॉइस तुम आज चुन रहे हो. तुम्हें क्या बनना है. यस, सो बी केयरफुल. अंडरस्टूड द पोएम? ओके, नाउ नेक्स्ट हियर वी आर गोइंग टू सी द लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस दैट आर यूज्ड इन दिस पोएम. The first one literary device is rhyme scheme. What rhyme scheme is used here in this poem? So what is the rhyme scheme? It is A B A A B. I think you all are not aware about this. Yes? So let's see the lines of the poem. Look at there on the screen. On left side, to the left side, look at there, the poem is given. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. Be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. So look at there. For rhyme scheme, you have to think about the last ending word of line, of each line. Yes, last ending word of each line. So what is last word of first one line? Would. What is would? Yes. So for would, just give the alphabet A, because in rhyme scheme we have to give them alphabets. Okay, A B C D so on. So for would, give A. Given? Got it? Now pronounce the last one word of the second line, ending word. What is that? Both. So now pronounce would, both. Would, both. Do they have similar sound? Do they have similar sound? Both, would. No. Yes, both are different. So as the sound of both is different, so give it B alphabet. Yes, give it B alphabet. Given, so would A, both B. Now the last one ending word of third line. What is it? Stood. So now pronounce stood. Is it similar to the previous two? Would, stood. Would, stood. Yes. Stood has the similar sound with would. Means the sound of would and stood are same. Yes, sounds of both are same. So same alphabet will be given then. As the would has been given A, so give the same A alphabet to stood. Given. Now pronounce the last one word of fourth line. What is this? What is it? Could. So now pronounce it. Could. Could. Is it similar to would? Both are stood. Yes, it is similar to would and stood. Would, stood, could, would, stood, could, would, stood, could. Similar sound is there. Yes. So again give it the same alphabet A. Got it? Means A, B, A. Got it? For the first 4 lines. Now pronounce the last one word of 5th line. Undergrowth. Undergrowth. Growth. Growth. Oath. Both. Oath. Both. Yes. Both and undergrowth. Growth. Oath. Has. Yes. Both have the similar sound. Both. Oath. Yes. So as it has the similar sound to both, give it the letter which has given to both. What is it? B. So give it there B. Got it? So now we got the rhyme scheme. What is rhyme scheme? A B A B. Yes, A B A B. Same is again there. Fair, wear, there. Fair, wear, there. A. Claim, same. Claim, same. B means A B A. Lay, day, way. Black back. Same. Yes, lay, day, way. A B. A B. Sigh, I, buy. Hence, difference. Reference. Yes, same. So what is the rhyme scheme of this poem? A B. Got it? So this is the rhyme scheme of this poem, The Road Not Taken. Now the figures of speech that have been used here in this poem. The first one figure of speech is symbolism, and as I told you, this poem is symbolic, as we have seen in the beginning. The 2 roads which represents 2 or more choices in our life. Yes, definitely these 2 roads represents 2 or more choices of our life. Yes, got it? So it is symbolism. Anaphora means when a particular word, the beginning words of line is repeated in the next lines at the beginning only. So that is called anaphora. Look at there in the poem, and is repeated in the 2nd, 3rd and 4th line. Yes, look at there in poem, and in 2nd, 3rd and 4th. In this continue 3 lines, the word and is repeated, so it is anaphora. Got it? Then 3rd one figure of speech is alliteration. What is it? Alliteration means when you find the repetition of consonant sound, the repetition of the beginning component sound of words. So look at there, wanted, wear in a single line it is given there, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Because it was grassy and wanted wear. Look at there in this line, were sound is repeated. Was, were. Wanted, were. Wear, were. The beginning sound of beginning sound of the word. When the beginning sound of the word or letter is repeated in the same line, it is called alliteration. So in this line of 2nd stanza, 3rd one line, look at there. Because it was grassy and wanted wear. Was, were. Wanted, were. Wear, were. Were sound is repeated, and that's why it is alliteration. Then again, first for. First for, look at there in the third stanza. In the third stanza, third line, oh, I kept the first for another day. Oh, I kept the first for another day. First for, fur sound is repeated. Yes, fur, the consonant sound is repeated here. So that is again alliteration. Then in the second stanza, fourth line, though as for that the passing there. Though as for that the passing there. So look at there in this fourth line, the sound is repeated. TH, the sound is repeated there. Yes, where though the sound, that the sound, the sound, there the sound, there the that the though the sound is repeated, and that's why it is alliteration. Got it? Understood? Then another one figure of speech that has been used here in this poem is repetition. So in the last stanza, look at there in the second line, ages is repeated. When you find a particular word, look at there, I am not talking about the sound or the first letter. I am talking about the word. Whole word is repeated. When whole word or words are repeated in a line, it is called repetition. So in the last stanza, second line, somewhere ages and ages hence, look at the ages. The word ages is repeated, and that's why it is repetition. And again same, two roads diverge in a wood. This, as I told you, word or words can be repeated. Okay, so two roads diverge in a wood. This sentence is repeated in first and fourth stanza. Look at the first line, two roads diverge in a yellow wood. So same line is repeated there, two roads diverge in a wood. Yes, in the last stanza. So this is repetition. Got it? So in this way, these are the literary devices that are used in this poem. So I hope you all have understood the literary devices very well. After this, do complete the question answers which are given there in the book. Okay, and here the poem is completed. In our next lecture, we will see the first one lesson from the Bihayu, and that is the fun they had. So be ready for the lesson, the story, the fun they had. So here, goodbye. Have a good day. See you in our next lecture. Bye bye.